Coming into your net, the same paper. The clarification of what are we going to do as government to ensure that these people compute and we score the same marks that we want in this government? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Agnes Workers.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the members for this serious debate. I was part of the negotiating team and my colleagues, the other MPs. The minister has continuously said the same statement. Mid-term without any plan or sharing the information. Madam Speaker, this is a constitutional matter. This is very clear in Article 40B. You cannot pay the same people doing the same work, different salaries. I pray that Parliament takes a serious decision. Government cannot violate the rights of its own workers, and then you expect the private sectors to come out and do otherwise. Madam Speaker, science begins at primary. They have not considered the primary teachers who are teaching science, if at all. The teachers at primary are earning 560 without being taxed. They are taxed pay as you earn, then net is around 400. Madam Speaker, you know the cost of living. Renting a house area is around 200. Portion now is 3,500. Really, how do we expect the teachers who go in the morning and leave at 6, how do they survive? Has the ministry taken serious interest to know how do these people survive? That means they survive locally. They are living miserably. They can't even educate their children in the best schools, yet they are educating other people's children. Madam Speaker, Parliament should not leave this issue to be handled by government only. We should come in and defend the rights of workers in this country. Thank you so much.
Kazo.
Nyabushozi, actually. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Wilson Kajwenje. I represent Nyabushozi constituency. First, I agree that the teachers are with us in the same struggle to transform society. And when I say teachers, I mean both science and arts teachers. We cannot transform this society if we have disgruntled the teams. There are better ways to incentivize science teachers without demoralizing arts teachers. And I think this should be the issue. We can pay them similar, equal pay, but we can incentivize science teachers and still transform this society. Two, Madam Speaker, when I was in my constituency in recess, I asked the teachers why they are striking. And this is what they told me, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, that they are not striking because science teachers have been given more pay. They are striking because there is a breach of agreement. I was not privy to this. I'm happy that the Honorable Minister has put it forward. It is incumbent upon government as a party on the negotiating table to respect the agreement it signed. I am a proponent of science education as a core to transforming society. Right Honorable Speaker, as we speak now, Ugandan kids below 15 are holding our flag in Dakar, Senegal. They have become number 4 on the continental, Pan-African continental robotics. They were sponsored privately. I pray that when these kids return, we pay tribute to them. These are our kids that are holding Ugandan flag at continental level. I beg to say, Right Honorable Speaker, that we pay, if we have money, it should be money for all the workers. If we do not have money, then we don't have it. However, there is a way we can incentivize science teachers for purposes of transforming our economy. I beg to submit. But as I said, Right Honorable Speaker, I beg that when these kids return, the Ugandan kids in Dakar, we pay tribute to them when they're in the gallery. I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Ashiru Agnes is my name, the woman MP for Nebi District. First of all, I stand in the shoes of the teachers and I feel how tight it is. First of all, as we talk about the plight of the science teacher, there is something that is worrying me, Honorable Speaker. Right now, we are happy here that the teachers have gone back to school. But as they enter the classes, we are not aware the content they are handling. And most of these learners, especially in secondary school, these are children or learners who can assess the performance of the teachers. And as I sit here, I'm worried if we don't handle this issue carefully, we are going to hear that there are a number of strikes that are going to come to our country. And the little that we have is going to be destroyed completely. I want to say that we are the voice of the voiceless, and people have trust in us down there. So we must come out with something which is really very objective. We should console everybody. If we don't have the money, let us say we don't have the money. If it is there, the little we have, let us share it for everybody. Remember, it is not only the teacher.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence. I'm very allergic to the mask, but I have it. Your indulgence, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Order.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister for his submission. Madam Speaker, I want to bring on table two concepts that seem to be confusing some of our teams in government. Madam Speaker, there is the issue of efficiency and effectiveness. One of them means doing the right thing, and the other one means doing the thing right. But at times, some of those words are used interchangeably. Madam Speaker, I want to agree that government is doing the right thing by enhancing the payment.
Madam Speaker, the procedure issue, I have seen colleagues who say they have this and that disease. The reason we put on masks is to protect ourselves, but also protect those who are near us. Can we gazette a corner, Madam Speaker, in Parliament, for those who are allergic and have diseases, and we sit them somewhere? Oh, Madam Speaker, like you have said, we have a minister who permanently is on Zoom. We can ask those who have allergies to attend Parliament on Zoom instead of.
Thank you, Madam.
Procedure.
Yeah,
But I have
so
the-
I
Madam
thought you have been
Speaker,
here for some time.
Even
Morris.
on procedure, you can be ordered.
Morris is on procedure.
Oh, Madam Speaker, they register with your office and we allow them to attend by Zoom. Otherwise, what message do we give to the country that there are exceptions? So you come with your COVID and say, I'm allergic, and you pick a microphone.
Honorable Minister of Health, can you advise us?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Right now, the number of COVID cases in the country is going up. So is the positivity rate. And right, Honorable Speaker, we also advised that members, and I believe all members are eligible, should get their booster doses so that they can be protected. However, the best protection is to observe the standard operating procedures, which is keep your mask on at all times, especially when you are in a closed environment like this one. If you are outside and you are alone, when I say outside, I mean outside a closed environment, and you are alone, not near anybody, within 2 meters of you, you can remove your mask. Therefore, it is imperative that when we are in this august house, we should keep our masks on. And you have shown a very good example of keeping yours on at all times. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Bashir, can you put on a mask and finish your? If you don't have a mask, you can.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to agree that the pay raise alone to the science promotion agenda of this country. When you move around to so many public schools in the country, Madam Speaker, I'm a professional educationist and an education entrepreneur, but so many schools, public schools around the country are lacking labs. For example, they have no reagents, there is no electricity. But the way the minister is presenting, it's as if when we increase the pay, it is sufficient and it's a panacea that everything will be done. And lastly, Madam Speaker, I want to submit that must reflect our creed. We must walk with the talk. We must say what we mean and mean what we say. If we say science is very, very important than any other thing in this country, then we should also optimize the usage of the few science brains we have in the cabinet and deploy them appropriately in the cabinet itself, for example, as an indicator and as an example. For example, Madam Speaker, you
Baby face. Baby face.
This example, Madam.
Musinja.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to add on my voice to thank the Minister and my most respected Minister, Honorable Mururi Mokasa, for the report. My most. Unfortunately, when I saw Right Honorable Speaker, when I saw the order paper that the Minister was coming to give a report, my mind was like, we are sorted as members of Parliament. Finally, we are going to have an answer to give to the electorate and especially the teachers. To my surprise, it did not come out clearly to say when are we getting money as government to pay the teachers, because, Right Honorable Speaker, there is no missing words. The teachers want money. Actually, what the Honorable Minister was praising the UNATO for is not a reality. Actually, the teachers are terming it as inverted coercion. They did not willingly choose to go back to the classrooms. They've been forced to go there. And I want to interest my Honorable Minister to take stock on what is happening in the schools. There is no teaching. I followed Hoima district yesterday and today. The teachers are sitting, they are not teaching. So they are saying UNATO got money when they came to Kololo, they were given bags of money, and the teachers, the classroom teachers, are disowning the position of the UNATO leadership. So, Honorable Minister, I pray that as government, we should look at concretizing the issues. Right Honorable Speaker, the industrial action is not happening for the first time. It was in this house in the 9th Parliament. The Right Honorable Mama Mbabas was the Prime Minister and the Vice President was the Minister of Education then. For us, the methodology they were using to handle the teachers.
Honorable members, When you look at Article 40 of the Constitution of Uganda, that is on the economic rights. One says A, to provide for the right of people to work under satisfactory, safe and health conditions. B, to ensure equal payment. And C, to ensure that every worker is accorded rest and reasonable working hours and periods of holidays without pay, as well as remuneration for public holidays. Let's have respect for our Constitution and honorable members. Commissioner Solomon. I am coming like this.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And I had about 3 questions for the Minister. My first question, Right Honorable Speaker, is, do we actually have science in this country? Because, Right Honorable Speaker, in the primary school, where we start learning science actually, I see the science teachers teaching about insects. I'm now taking you to the real primary. You draw an insect, you name the body parts. Then in the SST social studies, they tell you what is a map. So what is the difference? What we are teaching is basically the same theory. Because when you say that you should uniquely pay teachers of science more than the teachers of arts, when we do not have laboratories and we do not have equipment, I mean it comes to the same. Then 2, it relates to what the Honorable Cecily Ogwal raised. Did we find out, did we do research to find out that why we are not having development in our science sector is because of that? We have information to back up that, or it was just a position that we came up with that let's increase the salary. Because what I'm discovering and what I'm finding out in schools, it is not the problem of having inadequate teaching. It is actually lack of equipment, lack of enough books, lack of laboratory equipment that is making and pulling the science down.
Order, Madam Speaker. Order.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Order, Madam Speaker.
There is a procedural matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to make reference to Article 40, which you have just read to us, and I want to pay attention to B. Economic rights. Parliament shall enact laws to ensure equal payment for equal work without discrimination. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister presented to us here and said because of resource constraints, government is not able to pay the arts teachers what they're demanding for right now. But in the midterm, government will do that. I am wondering whether we are proceeding right, Madam Speaker, without knowing from the Minister whether at that appropriate time T, when the resources will be available, they will offer the equal pay plus areas that would have.
The Minister will respond to that. Minister, take note of that. And I want you to read Article 40B together with the clause 2. Every person in Uganda has a right to practice his or her profession, trade or business. So we all have a right to do what we think we are capable of doing, but we must have a equal pay.
And my last clarification, Right Honorable Speaker, was on the timeline. Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted the Minister to clarify for us when is government going to take action? Because the promise seems indefinite. That is my last clarification.
Tom Bright. Tom Bright.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Tom Bright, Amot, Member of Parliament, Chaka Central, Chegegwa District. Right Honorable Speaker, however much we are protecting teachers, we are not protecting our children. When I was in school, I remember you couldn't get any combination without any English, good results from English. You should pass some other art subjects so that you can get a very good performance or a very good science course or combination. Use an example of PEM. There's no way you can get PEM without economics, and economics is not part of science. To me, I believe in 5 years ahead, our country will lack people who will be studying science unless the Ministry of Education streamlines the issue of science classes to be different from arts subjects. I beg to submit.
Proceed. I am coming this side. I've left the other side.
Thank you very much, Madam. For me, I'm a science teacher and a science teacher of chemistry and math. Madam Speaker, I remember, I think it was in the last parliament, around 2018, where this issue came up of teachers. And we stood here and gave explanations on why we cannot consider arts teachers alone, science teachers alone, and leave out the arts teachers. Now today it comes true, where science teachers have been considered and arts teachers have been brought on board and their salary has been increased. But I don't know whether, like Honorable Tom has said, I don't know whether government is aware of the danger of what it has brought. As I speak today, come, I think, next year when we shall be having senior sixes and sitting their exams, we are going to realize that most students are not going to perform very well to qualify for science courses in the university. For you to be, you must do your PEM. You must have BAG, where BAG has geography. You must have MEG, where MEG has economics and entrepreneurship, and very many other courses where arts is really considered and helps very much. For me, there are courses that up to now I still think are supposed to be science courses. In Makerere today, Madam Speaker, when you're given an education course of mathematics and economics, you're taken as an arts teacher when you cross-check. Therefore, government needs to be aware of the danger that it is. Secondly, Madam Speaker,
Simba is not there. Hillary.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as we interrogate the spirit under which the government is moving, we need to get back to who we are. Uganda is naturally an artistic nation. Much as we want the innovations, the art industry, the arts have taken this country to the level where it is now. It is unfortunate that before we appreciate it, we want to go to the science advancement, which is not bad, but we must appreciate that art has taken Uganda where it is now. Madam Speaker, where is the spirit coming from? And why now? If we can't afford having a holistic approach towards this move, Why are we creating the discriminative move? Why are we discriminating other people? And why are we creating this challenge? Because as we talk, Madam Speaker, me as an artist, I'm seeing this as an attack to the art and arts in general. When we go to schools, Madam Speaker, where we come from, we used to have things like national culture days. They are no longer there. National festivals.
Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
President of UPC.
Madam Speaker, I consider myself a scientist. And I want to report that I have learned of a school where a staff room is divided into two by papyrus map, a section of art teachers, another section of science teachers. That's the environment we have created, which is a very disappointing environment. Having said that, I want to learn from the minister what was the objective of this creation. What was the objective and what is the expected outcome? If it is to create employment, is this a solution to employment? If it is to make people innovative, how have they treated people before that have been innovative? Right Honorable Speaker, I know for a fact that Professor Ogwang innovated a drug that would cure malaria. What did government do? They awarded him a certificate and full stop. They did not help him to create a factory to produce his medicine. By now would be employing many people, would have inspired many people, and probably many people would be more innovative than it is now. Instead, they gave him a certificate. So I want to learn from the minister, what are we curing actually by creating a discriminative pay policy? Is it employment? Are we solving employment problem? Is it innovation? Or just to divide? We know that for a fact they wanted to divide UNATO as an organization. Is it to divide the workers' union as they have done? What is the objective? And finally, Madam Speaker, we have said here that mindset is a problem. Even as NRM came, they said that they were tired of jobs. They are tired of job seekers. Is this solving? Thank you.
Jimmy Akena.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I come from the train of thought that the greatest asset that Uganda has is its people. And for the people to continue, it is our children who must carry our dreams forward. Clearly, not all of us are going to be scientists. I believe the education system should be there to enhance the gifts which our children have. We need to develop their talent and get their knowledge to a level where they can be competitive in any corner of this world. There are some of our students who are great athletes. We need to develop those skills. If we expect everybody to be a scientist, we are actually not helping ourselves and we're just creating a disaster. On top of that, although government is talking about the development of scientists, I have not seen a manpower development policy from government, or what requirements do they foresee Uganda needs, that we are working towards developing that. In reality, Madam Speaker, our children spend more time with teachers than with ourselves. 9 months of a year, they're with teachers. Throughout the day, they're with teachers. But we cannot put our children in a toxic environment where we have divided the teachers. And these teachers are the ones who are going to be able to create in our children a hope for the future. Madam Speaker, I am really requesting government to sit back and review what they're doing and look at the complete consequence of what is happening. The student today has to be competitive. COVID has shown us with IT, they are going to be in direct competition with other children who are going to be getting all the gifts available to them. If we
Honorable all.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm a teacher. And I want to go down now to a school in Gulu. Take, for example, Gulu Senior Secondary School. I'm a teacher of science, but forever I say it is not good to divide teachers. Let teachers be treated according to grades. We used to have grades, and I think we should still continue with that grading, the grades. The grade, is it the certificate, the diploma, the university or degrees, and so on and so forth. Now, if you go to Gulu Senior Secondary School, you will find that the arts teachers could be about 100 and something, and the science teachers about 20. You are motivating the 20, and you are leaving the 100 and so. Are we not killing education? Education is the cornerstone of our development. If we want our country to continue to progress, even to this money economy that we talk of so much, we need education. Why are we killing education? We are killing education by bringing a lot of disharmony in the education. Let us motivate all the teachers. When teachers were actually graded, there was a lot of harmony. But now that you are segregating science, arts, I am science. I'm not so eloquent in English, but I love also the English people. When they speak, I feel very great. And in school, you start with the...
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Selvula Stefan. I'm a teacher by profession. Right Honorable Speaker, teaching is a passionate job. As a teacher, teachers have been doing this work out of love. That's why you even find that teachers are teaching even beyond their load because of their passion to make students pass. Right Honorable Speaker, what else can, for example, make us pass a supplementary budget than the future of our children? What else can make this country or parliament pass a supplementary budget than the future of our children, Right Honorable Speaker? Outside there are people saying that MPs are not minding about the future of their children because their children are studying from international schools. Honorable Speaker, it's my humble appeal and to the members of parliament who are here that we can pass a supplementary budget to bail our children, not to crucify us and curse us in future for having damaged their future.
Honorable members, let's first not talk about a supplementary budget before we adopt the resolutions. We have not started even using the money for 2020 to 2023. The money has not been released. Let's not go into supplementaries first. Let's have the resolutions approved, agreed upon. For your Chan, there is a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Lucy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to start from the point of your guidance, where you say that we come up with a resolution as a House. And for me, my suggestion is, since we have not yet started implementing this, let us put to hold this decision either by government or what, until all this thing has been resolved. Secondly, Madam Speaker, we are talking about arts, science. Honorable Laura talked about the special categories of teachers. And I want to add the kindergarten teachers. Without these teachers who taught you how to count 1, 2, or even identify ABC, Were you going to be a scientist? Were you going to be an artist? These are people who have been completely forgotten. Madam Speaker, this debate, let us not look at it as a very simple thing. It is bringing a very big problem. It's bringing a big problem. I was recently invited to one of the schools to talk to the students, S5 students. 10% of the students in S5 were offering arts subjects, and the 90% were doing science. And let me tell you, the 10% who are doing the arts subjects felt like they were total failures, simply because our head of state has come out clearly to demonize arts. And let me tell you, these students say it is useless.
That
this is up to the commissioner. In our rules, the ruling party sit on the right hand of the speaker. They have spoken on this matter for almost over an hour. Now you came to the right hand of the speaker for us to speak. It is also NRM speaking.
It's okay. She's an independent. You will speak after her. She's an independent.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to state that in this matter of salary enhancement, I think government is setting a very bad precedent. I want to ask to enhance everybody's salary by 300%, including MPs, of course, because this is a very bad precedent that I think the government is not going to be able to sustain. Are we willing to leave everything else and only pay wages in this government? In my opinion, we need to reconsider this before it is implemented. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Honorable Samuel.
Very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I will be very brief. The Dean. Madam Speaker, when President Idi Amin captured power, the country was working on decrees. He announced a land decree. One time he announced another decree that resulted into the chasing of Asians. The problem that this parliament is not dealing with is a problem of aminism, of running the state by directives. The Committee on Education, in their report, you can check on page 38, this particular problem that the president now has directed. The president has now signed a coffee bill. The president now has ordered the war. The president has now done this. This is what this parliament must do, deal with aminism. You cannot run a country by president, I'm referring to Idi Amin, sleeping and the following day you announce a policy, no research. And that's why I wanted to put the Honorable Commissioner Sirwanyi on order. Because a senior NRM leader, for you not to know that you are dealing with a directive, we're not dealing with a policy. Someone slept somewhere and he said, now I direct. And I pity and sympathize with the senior people like the Honorable Mururi Mukasa. Today, they make you work like a lorry. They load you with the chap. The following day, they load you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Kawo Florence, Woman MP, Kasese District. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the teachers. It is my prayer that before government draws a thick line between the science teachers and us teachers, it should first look at the issue of equipping laboratories and technical institutions. It is a pity, Right Honorable Speaker, that a country like Uganda that produces engineers every year still imports toothpicks from China. The beautiful roads you see around are built by companies from China. We have to look at the skills of these people. Giving more salary to science teachers will not solve a problem. Right Honorable Speaker, the science and arts teachers all go to the same market. They go to the same hospitals. They take their children to the same schools, so they should equally be given salary. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Madam Speaker, you have given me after her.
Zijan, then the last desk.
Procedure.
Thank you.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it does not require rocket science to appreciate the dynamics, the power dynamics of a meeting between a military general and leaders of teachers. What we need to pay attention to was the setting of the meeting at Kololo, in which these leaders are said to have agreed to lay down, to cease their industrial action and go back to school. The teachers generally have turned against the position that their leaders took. And if you investigate further, you might realize that these teachers were coerced, intimidated, and made to accept the directive, as Honorable Semju has been saying. There was, in contract law, we have a concept called consensus ad idem. There has to be a meeting of the mind where these minds agree to agree on something. I am inclined to think that the environment under which the teachers agreed to cease industrial action was not an environment of equality in terms of power of negotiation. The president must have intimidated them. He's a 5-star military general. These are poor teachers.
I am not sure.
We should investigate those dynamics and see whether they have agreed or not.
Zijan, I am not sure that they were intimidated. That is a hearsay. Can you withdraw that intimidation part?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I withdraw the bit that I think that the military general was intimidated, and I hold that we investigate as to whether he intimidated them or not, Right Honorable Speaker.
There was no intimidation. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is that Emmanuel?
Yes. Madam Speaker, I'm on the Committee of Education and Sports. And my wife is a teacher. When I called her this morning to ask if she was in class, she told me, if your interest is for us to be in class, we will go to class. But shall we be teaching? So I leave that there. Madam Speaker, I have been cautioning teachers in Greater Navy because they have a forum where I am. And I've been telling particularly science teachers to be careful. They shouldn't celebrate, because for me, I know that there is a different aim to this also, not only about innovation. The other, ONATU is growing to be a very strong organization. And I want to believe some of our people are not comfortable with strong organizations, so they want to break them. That is the caution I've been giving to teachers. In the Committee of Education and Sports, Madam Speaker, I, at one point when we were discussing this, stated clearly that now, which language is used for teaching science if it is not English? So This famous science, what language is used for teaching it? Now you don't want to reward an English teacher because that is not science, that is arts, and yet you are using that language to teach your science. I think we need to be cautious about that. So please, my suggestion is that let us go back and allow Ministry of Public Service to do their work.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, you've given me.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes. Today, the President's vision is on arts, science, and all ministers are madly in love with science. When he wakes up tomorrow with another vision, singing praises on arts, all ministers will shift to singing arts. Do our ministers ever advise the President that some vision or other vision endanger this country? 3 weeks down the road, our children have not been studying, the learners. 3 weeks, private schools have been taking their learners through school. Government schools have been on strike. Government must and should honor the agreement they made with UNATU, said that all salaries are paid, all our public servants, and especially teachers, both science and arts, are equally paid. Thank you.
Ife Naluyimba.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Abed.
Madam Speaker, I'm part of the Public Service and Local Government Committee of this Parliament. And Madam Speaker, these are some of the issues continuously we are handling. And you are aware some time back we had to handle the medical workers and the allied health workers. And on top of that, Madam Speaker, as we are processing the budget, many other unions and other associations could show that really their salary enhancement is due. And the local governments were equally so disgruntled, whereby the cows have got to supervise the DHOs and the engineers who have far much earning, according to what they also have. The LC files together with the LC ones all were so much perturbed. Madam Speaker, that is implying we have a very bigger problem. Now, where our cabinet has given us a solution to the pending matters in the country, and it has no basis, it has not given model, it has not given research. Whereas here we are considering evidence-based. No fear has been referred to that what we are handling as a country is what is going to lead us to the best as per their statement. We shall request, as an individual, I'm science-based, I'm of the science background, but there is no way I can ever accept and also support this inequality the way it is today. So as parents, being that we are legislators and we are parents in the whole country, and we are amongst our children are the arts teachers, the science teachers, the engineers, and the lawyers, amongst others. Let's go back. Let's find that parental language to our workforce and encourage it further.
Abed.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm a scientist by training and by choice. When I went to school, I never expected that there will be a day in life.
Honorable members, if you're not going to speak on this matter, there is still a very important matter on health. And you'll contribute.
Right.
Not everybody will contribute, but the next one will get people who have not.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when I went to school, I never expected that there will be a time where I use my profession advantage over others. It is wrong in this country to discriminate teachers based on whether they are scientists or artists. That strategy is wrong. For those people who are in education and who are in government, I want to recommend to you 2 countries that have used education as a driver for the economy and they have succeeded. Another one is Finland. Go and study them and benchmark what they did. Right, Honorable Speaker, last week I visited a university in Italy and they offer a degree in coffee economics and science. It is a country that imports our coffee. For us who grow coffee, we don't have that degree. Government should go back and come up with a paper on how we are going to develop technology and innovation so that we don't do things by chance. What we are doing now is going to harm, is very detrimental to the teachers. You cannot disorganize education the way we are doing. Let us come back here with a paper, well researched, well studied, so that we can know how we are going to promote innovation and technology. It is not true that science is a domain for innovation. Innovation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I'm Mayanja Alan from Nakasika Central. Madam Speaker, the last time I watched Minister Muloli Mukasa and his colleagues like Honorable Mario Mose on television was when the two were throwing threats at teachers other than calling them for honest discussion. Madam Speaker, these public servants, public workers, they are fighting for their rights, economic rights, under Article 40. These threatening messages should stop immediately, Madam Speaker. And the demand for salary increments cuts across both in public and private sector, considering the costs and standards of living today. It's a national problem which government must address, not forgetting the issue of minimum labor wage, as this is the only meaningful solution to avoid industrial action. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Samakula.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in my village there is a saying that you can take the horse to the well, but you cannot force the horse to drink. Teachers are being forced back to class, but it should be on record, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, but that they are not teaching. They are just there to pass time. I understand, Right Honorable Speaker, that government can have a solution, because in all aspects, all the teachers should be treated equally. Whether you are a science teacher or an arts teacher, you are all equally important. In some countries, Right Honorable Speaker, some countries have devised what they call professional allowance, special professional allowances, which are paid to those who are exceptional in certain professions. So, Right Honorable Speaker, in my conclusion, we should find a way how to talk to these teachers. Otherwise, they have gone back to classes, but they are not teaching. Yes, information. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, if God willing, Speaker with the indulgence, if I'm given an extra minute to be useful to this house. Honorable Speaker, I want to correct records. It was in 2011, not 2009, when we were in this parliament, 9th parliament, under the Committee of Social Services, where teachers were striking and we met the Prime Minister in his office. They selected only 6 members of parliament from the committee to which I was party. When we went, we argued with the Prime Minister as of then, that no the teachers should be paid in a phasing manner, where we gave them 15% for 4, 60, then 15 until they got their 100%, realizing their 500, the minister is saying. So correct that record. It was not in 2009. Secondly, let nobody mislead this parliament that teachers are teaching because they were sent back under duress. But we don't have to go deep into what happened. Right now, Speaker, Kampala district alone has 25 government secondary schools. Then it has 630 private secondary schools. Once you want to promote science, that means you must cater for all the schools in the country because we are promoting science. So you cannot have any logic by saying that if you cater for government schools alone, science will be improved at the cost of private schools. Because government is mandated to educate all the children. Right now, Speaker, there is a wrong perception created by government that science teachers are at the level of doctors. That's wrong. Doctors spend 6 years in the university. In education, the one I did, we had 16 course units, bachelors of education.
No. Karim Benlo.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'll join my colleagues in appreciating and thanking the teachers who have decided to go back to teach our students, despite the fact that their demands have not yet been met. I'm personally against the government decision and position of enhancing salaries of only the science teachers, which I believe they should do it collectively. All teachers need a pay raise. And according to the proposal, they had suggested to increase that of scientists by about 300%. I believe we could go to 200%, but it cuts across all the teachers, and maybe 300% in the next financial year for all the teachers, instead of increasing for only the scientists now and for the arts later on. So I believe we need to have more of a step. So we are going to increase this year by 200%. Next year, it will increase by again 50%, the other year by 50%. So that is my suggestion. And lastly, before I give way for information, it's good.
You are not giving away for information. Leader of position, can you speak?
Lastly, before I sit down, it's good the Honorable Minister is sitting next to the Senior Minister, who is the Minister of Health. And I believe they are all earning the same salary because they are all ministers. For him, he's a minister in the field of arts. He's not getting less than the Honorable Dr. Ruth Achenj, who is a minister in the sector of sciences. So I believe we need to have a uniform salary because as cabinet, there is no discrimination. In parliament, we have no discrimination. Why does the minister want discrimination in schools? So I think we need to have, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, a statement, and I say it was well stated to include the ongoing industrial action. Honorable Minister, your statement is lacking also in the aspects of science. It should have carried with it some statistics. This House ought to know the total number of teachers, both science teachers and art teachers, you are earmarking for salary enhancement. And also the amount of money for the arts required for enhancement of salaries of arts teachers. Is it also, because the formula for that of science teachers is now known, 300% over. This statement is therefore very hollow when it comes to lacking in every aspect that information pertaining to the formula you are going to use
to enhance the salaries of arts teachers. Honorable Minister, I expected your statement to make a commitment on whether, as government, you are still interested in harmonizing salaries of public officers by constituting a salaries and remunerations review commission. Your statement remains very shy, mentioning that. Also, when it comes to timelines and the commitment on implementation, you have not, in your statement, indicated when you are going to implement the collective bargaining agreement that was signed way back in 2018. Information granted.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, can you respond to the questions raised?
Madam Speaker, before he
Can
comes,
you-
my shadow minister
Can you
of public,
respond?
my shadow minister of public service.
You've never been a speaker in the House. You don't give.
No,
up.
I'm requesting, I'm just seeking
Honorable
your
Minister.
indulgence to allow the line minister
Honorable
of
Minister.
public service to make a response to his council.
Honorable Minister, give us a response.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I'd like to appreciate the concern for the arts teachers and the advice that has been given in this debate regarding enhancement. Let me say from the outset that government is committed to enhancement. And now that we are getting a slight, the report of the Minister of Health notwithstanding, I think the enhancement is now going to go back on its course. Right Honorable Speaker, it is true we signed the comprehensive bargaining agreement way back, and part of that agreement was actually fulfilled, and it should have gone on course if these other interventions had not taken place. But we are still committed. And indeed, the way forward now is to have further negotiations with the labor unions so that we can now have a review of that agreement and then set it squarely on course. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, clarification, because it would appear by the microphone being switched off that actually we don't have time. So let me conclude. The ideas which have been given to us here are indeed very important, and they'll be used in the further development with the negotiations with the labor unions and making sure that actually the enhancement is on course.
I am about to send you people to National Theatre. Can you people sit?
Right Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, regarding the strike of UNATU, I would like to make it clear that there was no intimidation. And the leaders of UNATU, actually having talked and listened to all the stakeholders at that meeting, agreed to put off the strike. And indeed, workers were also part of that meeting. So really, it is not in order. It is not in order. It is not in order.
I know you're a teacher.
It is not in order to impute wrong motives of coercion when actually some of the members were not there. I was in that meeting. Whatever transpired, I know. And it is on record. After all the statements had been made, the leaders of the union remained at Kololo with the MPs representing workers, and they talked over the matter. And out of their own volition, they said they should call off the strike. However, we are going to continue with the negotiations to make sure that the proper timeline of enhancement is provided. What do you mean? When is this going to happen? Yes. No. No, I'm not the speaker. I'm not the speaker. And we would like. What is clear is that, yes, beginning the next financial year. However, the negotiations are going to continue. Beginning next financial year, we shall continue with the enhancement. And indeed, certain sectors of the public service, including the teachers, that has not been enhanced this time, will be enhanced. The question of science and the importance and the critical nature of science, I think given the short time that we have, we cannot exhaust this. We need really a whole paper about this to really appreciate the importance of science. And when we look at the development of societies, science is really at the base. And then these other sectors of knowledge are in the superstructure. So science, much as the scientists may not be very many, are very critical and crucial. And countries, Right Honorable Speaker, that have adopted science to a critical mass have developed faster than countries that have taken the. And I'd like to thank
Honorable members
for that.
Honorable members, given the magnitude of the issues that have been raised on this matter, and then the responses of the minister has responded, and as I said before, it was not to our expectation, and we need to have, and the fact that the report of Education Committee was also distorted, which was adopted by this House. I now want a normal motion to be presented to this House tomorrow on the resolutions that the House passed on the report of education, on the action plans. That's what we should resolve. I am giving 5 honorable members to draft a motion. I'll give Chairman of Education, Chairman of Public Service, Honorable Duru Jonathan, Honorable Shadow, and workers, Konihira. Tomorrow I need your motion in this House, and we will go by the resolution. If you have issues that you want to raise that are pertinent to this issue, take it to the to that committee of 5, so that we don't have go and debate again. We only adopt the resolutions. Next item.
Item 4, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Health to selected health facilities in Busoga, Elgon, Bukedi, Ankole, and Buganda sub-regions to assess the state of healthcare service delivery.
Honorable members, the matters of health, are really paramount and affects almost everybody and all of us. And we had our Committee of Health go to those sub-regions during their oversight duty, and the report is ready for presentation. We evaluate, we see the action points, and see if we can be able to improve the quality of health in this country. Honorable Chair, and I'm also happy that the Minister is around. Minister, there was a question that I dodged because we didn't have an answer on the issue of pox, which, where is the honorable member? Monkeypox. How prepared are we to handle the monkeypox? Yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. For the record, my name is Dr. Charles Ayume, Chairperson, Parliamentary Committee on Health, Member of Parliament, Koboko Municipality. Right Honorable Speaker, between the 30th of May 2022 and the 3rd of June 2022, the Parliamentary Committee has in this country, which included Bukedi, Buganda, Busoga, Elgon, and Ankole sub-regions. We visited 21 districts and 33 health centers. That included 3 general hospitals, 15 health center 4s, and the rest were health center 3s. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee prepared the report, and I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Health to the selected health facilities in Busoga, Elgon, Bukedi, Ankole, and Buganda sub-regions to assess the state of health service delivery, together with its appendages, the data collection tools. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Please lay. The report was uploaded. Kindly check on your iPads.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In the interest of time, I beg that we go to the observations, findings, but for purposes of members to look at health facilities that may be of interest to them, I beg we go to page 15, which has a geographical scope of the health centers that were visited. That is on page 15. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't have to read all the 33 health facilities. As you had guided, the report was uploaded. So we shall move straight to page 16, which has the findings, observations, and recommendations. So Right Honorable Speaker, bullet 6 highlights the performance of key health indicators at the health facilities. As I had guided earlier, that we developed a tool which looked at some of the indicators like theater functionality, looked at the outpatient, we looked at ambulances, and so many other indicators which we shall go through. When we go to table 3, right, maternal deaths, stillbirths, early neonatal deaths, And the last column is the period. That is on page 16, colleagues. When you look at that table, maternal deaths, Tororo Hospital topped it with 6. This is an indicator that as a country, we are trying to fight. Budaka Health Center 4.3, Muyembe Health Center 4.3, and so forth. Still births, we could see there were at 20, Tororo Hospital, Budaka 20, Muyembe Health Center 420, and so forth. Now, still births means by the time a mother gives birth, the baby is dead. It could be macerated, or it could be fresh. Macerated means most likely the baby died before the mother came to hospital, and that will tell from the color complexion of the newly born baby, the dead baby. While fresh, the color is usually pink, and that could be attributed to factors that happened during delivery. Early neonatal deaths, that column is also quite important because a neonate is a baby that is less than 4 weeks. Are these children dying? They are born alive, but then they die after. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the annual sector performance report indicates that we have 92 maternal deaths per 100,000 births. That is the deaths that occur in the health facilities. Of course, there are community deaths, and those are hit very hard. But we all know that the maternal mortality ratio is 336 deaths per 100,000 births. I would like to draw your attention, Right Honorable Speaker, to table 4, which is on page 18. Table 4 shows the key child delivery indicators by health facility. And if you look at the various columns there, again, Tororo General Hospital led all the health facilities with 2,000 deliveries and 500 cesarean sections. So, colleagues, try and narrow down, Right Honorable Speaker, let's try and narrow our observation to Budaka Health Center 4, which had 1,250 deliveries and 225 C-sections. Rekubo, which is in Isinjoro district, at 894 cesarean sections. The period of data collection is in the last column. Incidentally, in my previous assignment, Right Honorable Speaker, 6 years ago, Budaka was registering 0 cesarean sections. They had a medical officer who only worked every Tuesday. And the district council was comfortable with that until we arrested him. I'm very happy to see that they have 225 C-sections. And Rekubo, 10 years ago, was a health center for whose theater was a home for goats. But I'm very happy to say that it has now transformed, and we are seeing life being born out of the theater with 450 cesarean sections. And then the rest is self-explanatory according to the table. Right Honorable Speaker, on page 20, the committee recommends that investing in health center falls would help in strengthening the referral pathway, as shown by good functionality of some health center falls. The government, through Ministry of Health, should compile a report on the functionality of theaters in all health center falls countrywide so as to develop an inventory of equipment, staff, and supplies, among others. Since hemorrhage is one of the leading, that is on page 20, part of the recommendation, since hemorrhage is one of the leading causes of maternal deaths, the budget of Uganda blood transfusion services should be increased to facilitate collection of more units of blood. Liters of blood per year, and we are slightly below this target. So it's important that we appropriate more. Government should increase the budget for the National Ambulance System service so that ambulances are available at the regional call and dispatch centers to meet the increasing demand by health facilities. Right Honorable Speaker, we move to bullet 6.2, which is staffing levels in health facilities. That is on page 21. And the table speaks for itself. We move to that is table 5. Let's move to table 6, Right Honorable Speaker, which shows staffing level of key medical personnel at the health facilities. I must say, Right Honorable Speaker, that as had been shown in table 5, there's a lot of a disparity between staffing levels across all local governments. There are reasons that are peculiar to some local governments, despite the fact that central government appropriates money every financial year, but this money is returned to the treasury. Some of it includes failure to promote attraction and retention factors like accommodation and remuneration. So table 6, Right Honorable Speaker, on page 22, we teased out 3 important personnel there. The first one is a medical officer, second is a midwife, and the third is the anesthetic officer. These are the ones who put us to sleep in theater. And that table clearly shows the disparity across all health center force. And for those facilities that have these cadres in place, they have high output. Like I had shown you, for example, Rekubo Health Center 4 has 6 medical officers, 18 midwives, and 3 anesthetic officers. While if you looked at Nagongera Health Center 4, they have 0 anesthetic officers. And it speaks why the time when we went to visit, they had only done 6 cesarean sections. Whenever they want to do a cesarean section, they have to hire an anesthetic officer from Tororo town at a cost. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg we move to page 25 in the interest of time. Committee observation, a lot of money of wage is returned to the consolidated fund because district service commissions have failed to recruit staff. Some positions fail to attract applicants due to low remuneration for the health workers and lack of other facilities like education. There was rampant absenteeism of health workers and a laissez-faire attitude towards work. The monitoring of these facilities by Ministry of Health and DHOs is not adequate. The district health officer, for example, Budgetary, snubbed calls by the district officials and the parliamentary committee at the time of visit. And they told us this is a norm. Health centers found in districts that had health projects or were refugee hosting, e.g. Rekubo in Discriminatory district had additional staff like doctors and midwives, and this translated into higher output to other health center force, compared to other health center force. So the committee recommends the government through the Ministry of Finance should effect the salary enhancement. Attraction and retention factors of staff recruitment have to be addressed to fulfill these vacant positions. Ministry of Public Service and MOH should finalize the long-awaited new staff structure. I'm very happy that the 2 ministers are here because whenever we meet, it's the rhetoric of there's a staff structure coming up, but we want to see this staff structure in place so that we could mitigate some of these issues. District service commissions should expeditiously fill vacant positions and confirm staff who have been in acting capacity. Right Honorable Speaker, we see this all over the country. Sometimes clinical officers go back to do medicine for 5 years. They come back and they're still paid as clinical officers. We have seen that in the north in our previous oversight, but this was common in Bulambuli, in Muyembe Health Center 4, where we have a doctor who was qualified, took study leave, comes back, and she's still being paid as a clinical officer. The committee observations, lack of on-site accommodation, that's on page 27. Lack of on-site accommodation for staff negatively impacts on their performance since a lot of time and funds are spent on commuting to and from the health facility. Our recommendations, the government should continue with its efforts of building the stock of houses for health workers, accommodation at the health facilities. There should be renovation of accommodation facilities, which are very old, so as to enable health personnel reside at work. Right Honorable Speaker, page 28, that is 6.4. We are looking at availability of pharmaceutical and medical supplies, what in layman's language we call the medicines. And we took stock of a certain type of drugs that we think are essential for functionality of the Health Center 4 and Health Center 3. And table 7 clearly shows that. However, Right Honorable Speaker, there was a general observation across health facilities visited that anti-malarials, malaria is the #1 killer of, #1 cause of morbidity and mortality in this country. And it was quite sad that there was under-delivery of anti-malarials in cycle 6. That was the last cycle in June, and most health workers were grappling. National medical stores only delivered coatem 6, that is for children. So most people were told to go and buy, and that was increasing out-of-pocket expenditure. And of course, poor prognosis and mortality for those who didn't have the money. Committee observations, that is on page 31. Rehabilitation at a number of health centers has led to increased patient load, and yet the budget for medicines has remained static despite increasing prices for medicines due to the depreciation of the shilling against the US dollar. Stockouts of crucial medicines like anti-malarials, Right Honorable Speaker, I've already spoken about that. Our recommendation therefore is the budget for NMS should be increased in the medium term to cater for the increasing demand for pharmaceuticals and medicine consumables. The Ministry of Health and NMS should adopt a bottom-up approach and get specific requirements for health facilities, which should be proportional to the catchment population and disease burden in the area. On the issue of anti-malarials, I've spoken about that. However, I also wanted to say that the committee observed there was a high prevalence of sickle cell disease in the Bukedi sub-region. And I would want to salute the team at Budaka Health Center for starting a sickle cell clinic. They did not wait. They started it on their own. And I think these are people who should get medals and be rewarded on some of these big days. And there's a scientific reason to the high prevalence. Right Honorable Speaker, page 32, the state of maternity services. When we go to page 33, the committee observations, the distance from lower health facilities to higher levels is long, and that renders referrals risky for mothers in labor. This is made worse by lack of ambulances and ill-equipped ambulances with no resuscitation. And more of transportation vehicles. The committee therefore recommends that factors that address access to and quality of maternity services should be addressed. This includes midwives, medicines, consumables, infrastructure, and equipment. Hard to reach and live areas should be prioritized when planning for service deliveries. These are areas like Bulambuli, Manafwa, and then the island districts of Buvuma, Namaingo, and Kalangala. Bullet 6.7, which I would like to draw your attention to table 8, which shows us functionality of laboratories in the health services. This is a very important component, Right Honorable Speaker, because it helps us to diagnose and effectively treat what has been diagnosed. If we move to page 38, the committee reiterates its earlier recommendation on the need to increase the budget for NMS. The committee further recommends that the regional maintenance workshops should service the safety cabinets on time so that the laboratories that have these cabinets can function optimally. Hospital administrators should provide periodic reports to the DHO about the state of equipment in the laboratories. And then there is need to ensure that the CBC and chemistry machines in hospitals, which are a very important diagnostic and treatment monitoring test, should be installed at health center first to reduce referrals. Sometimes people are referred because they cannot access these very important tests. So the ministry should prioritize these at health center first. Right Honorable Speaker, we move to page 38, which is bullet 6.8, availability of imaging services. Right Honorable Speaker, we all know that imaging services are very important in the diagnosis of disease. So the committee made an observation that ultrasound machines, which are one of the most basic imaging services, are lacking in health center force, but some have taken it upon themselves through well-wishers to buy. Like one of my colleagues, Dr. Kamara, has done a good job in his constituency, but also in Nagongera Health Center 4. Rotary International bought an ultrasound machine. However, it is not free. They charge 10 to 15,000 shillings. The sonographer who comes on specific days. So the committee recommends that due to the emerging clinical and public health issues and increase in the population in rural areas, health center 3s should have fetal Dopplers and ultrasound scans, while health center 4s should have fetal Dopplers, ultrasound scans, and X-ray machines. Right Honorable Speaker, I want you to put this into context. An ultrasound machine may cost anywhere between 5 to 10 million shillings. If we multiplied 5 times 200 health center 4s, that would cost 1 billion shillings. 1 billion shillings. I want you to underline 1 billion shillings. Those are 2 V8 Land Cruisers. So if any of our all the health center 4s, the 200 health center 4s with ultrasound machines. So let's try and put these things into context. The committee further recommends that the prerequisite staff should be also included in the human resource structure and recruited. In the spirit of task shifting, modular courses for sonography can also be made readily available. Because some of these areas we have seen nurses being trained to operate these machines, even doctors, as we wait for public service to put sonographers on the structure. As we wait, underline that. Ultrasound services in a health facility should be free, and if it's under private wing services like in a hospital, it should be declared as non-tax revenue. Ultrasound and basic services should cascade to health center 4s as a matter of policy. General observation on equipment. Right Honorable Speaker, the state of equipment is a very big issue, and yet we need equipment to functionalize these facilities. But we are seeing that the challenges of power, lack of spare parts, missing parts, sometimes there are manuals in foreign languages, and these affect the turnaround time of faulty equipment. The committee recommends Ministry of Health should take interest in cases where equipment breaks down and no report filed. The ministry should engage managers of the different have arisen and asked them to show cause as to why no steps have been taken. Health facilities should regularly establish an inventory of equipment, clearly stating the functional and non-functional equipment and the necessary action. This should be disseminated to the DHO regional workshops and MOH. Now, on page 41, Right Honorable Speaker, at the top, the budget for regional maintenance workshops all over the country was 2.7 billion, and our pleas to increase this to 15 fell on deaf ears and were given 2.7. So that means whenever equipment breaks down, like in the case of Tororo Hospital, we have a brand new X-ray machine which has been down for the last 2 years due to power outages which blew up a very important component. It was fixed, but they are afraid to put it back on again because of the power outages. So some of the issues of the health sector, you can see, are not housed in the health sector. This is an energy problem. Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Health should recruit more biomedical engineers since the new medical equipment is becoming more sophisticated. The technicians are usually used to remove the spare part and put, but now it is more of .com. So Ministry of Health should explore the option of having service contracts with suppliers or different procurement options like equipment placement, where an X-ray is put and it is not owned by government, but what the ministry does is pay a monthly fee, or what we call reagent markup, where somebody puts his machine there and makes a markup on cost. In these cases, the equipment is owned but is maintained by the supplier at a fee. So we are saying that have a supplier like Philips or Siemens put their machine there and enter into a service contract where they have to come within a stipulated time to service and maintain this equipment. Some of you may go to equipment and weighing scales to health facilities, and weighing scales give you wrong results because they have not been calibrated in a long time. You may go for a glucose test. I'm just trying to put this into perspective. You may go for a glucose test and the machine gives you faulty parameters. And then we overload you with normal saline, dextrose. Disposal of assets should be handled routinely as per the PPDA guidelines. There's a lot of equipment lying in these health facilities that needs to be disposed of. The rest was a typo. We are coming to an end. Right Honorable Speaker, 6.9, availability and adequacy of utilities. Utilities in health facilities is still a challenge in terms of electricity and water. Some of the health facilities are off the grid, Right Honorable Speaker. And those that are on the grid are grappling with high bills. Some need three-phase power in order to operate. Busolwe Hospital is being revamped, but for the new structure that will be put in place, we will need three-phase power. Again, that is housed in Ministry of Energy. And then we're also we recommend that cheaper options should be explored, like solar energy and water harvesting systems. But I also want to salute the Ministry of Health that for the new facilities they're constructing, they are sinking motorized boreholes, and this is somehow serving the issue. Finally, last but not least, on page 43, we have 6.1, progress of ongoing constructions in Gombe and Busolwe hospitals. Right Honorable Speaker, I think with your permission, my colleagues can read that. These are ongoing works with a few twitches, but the committee was fairly satisfied, but we have communicated to the Ministry of Health Infrastructure Department to put good where we found issues. We went to 4.5, 6.1, that is page 45. The ambulance system. That's page 46. We have the table there. It shows health center falls with ambulances on page 46. The table is self-explanatory. And for the record, we have 3 types of ambulances, A, B, and C. And the one the Ministry of Health is procuring, the Land Cruiser type, which has research station equipment, is the ideal type. What most of us give as members of parliament is merely the transporter. So page 47. Page 47 shows the types of ambulances. And Right Honorable Speaker, the rest is appendages to show the ambulances that we have. On page 48, that's a tricycle. On page 49, page 50, it shows the hard body pickup. Page 51, and so forth. That's the evolution of our ambulance services. Right Honorable Speaker, on page 54, in conclusion, all health facilities visited have performed beyond their optimal levels. It shows at least there's a presence of government, despite the challenges faced. In order to improve healthcare service delivery, all stakeholders must be involved. Stakeholders at the local community, district authorities, and the national and global levels. They should include both political as well as technical and professional stakeholders. With more vigilance, more funding, and more accountability and partnerships, health sector challenges can be addressed. If the above recommendations are adopted, Right Honorable Speaker, the health facilities will further enhance their performance and the number of referrals to higher health facilities like general hospitals and national hospitals will reduce. This will enable the national hospitals concentrate on their specialized mandates. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move that this report be adopted by the House.
Thank you so much, Chairman, for a very good report. And this report is more informative. I remember the minister presented a comprehensive report to this House, and this is part of what they have still found out. And there is a motion that is following this report. Once we adopt this report, then we go to the motion. Minister, do you have anything to say on the report?
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank the chair and the committee members for the report. As you have clearly indicated, this report confirms what I presented a few months ago as regards the state of the health sector. Perhaps I would only comment on where progress has been made. One, we have to take note that the report is mainly about the local governments, and it would have been prudent that the Minister for Local Government should have been here, because some of those issues, the Ministry of Health cannot attend to them without local government. But I will comment on a few. We have adequate anesthetists now in the country, thanks to the loan that was provided by this August House. We have trained anesthetists and they need to be recruited. That requires the local governments. Wage has been enhanced. It is also part of what is required for attraction and retention. The restructuring, Right Honorable Speaker, is almost complete. What we are left with is restructuring of the specialist services. And that is where discussion with the Ministry of Public Service is currently ongoing. The challenge with anti-malarials, I think I need to comment on this, and it is a true finding by the committee. Right, Honorable Speaker, right now we are having an upsurge in 5 or 6 regions in the country. Karamoja, Acholi, Lango, Busoga, and Bukedia, with the heaviest burden being in Karamoja, Busoga, and Bukedia. And some people may be experiencing what we call black water fever, which is killing a lot of children. And because of that, Right Honorable Speaker, we channeled most of the anti-malarials to that area because we had come to the end of the financial year. We had to cater for those areas. To cover for the other areas, but also enhance these areas much more as we look for better ways of handling that upsurge of malaria. Right Honorable Speaker, we have adequate biomedical engineers now in the country. They are already in the new structure and they will be recruited. So on the whole, I want to agree. The report confirms what I presented here. We agree that the resolutions should be adopted and this August House should look for money to support the health sector. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. What we are going to do, I am happy the minister has agreed with the resolution, with the findings and the recommendations. Clerk is going to extract the resolutions of the committee in this report and forward them over to the minister for action. And would want the minister to come and report back to this house on the action taken issue by issue, hospital by hospital. And you have an amendment? Yes.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I earlier informed this House that Professor Gwang discovered an anti-malaria drug using our local herbs. Now that we have malaria as a problem, may we amend our resolutions to say that the ministry promotes Professor Ogwanga's medicine as an anti-malaria medicine to be used in the affected areas.
Is it seconded?
Clarification.
No. By the way, government is supporting Professor Ogwang. Government is supporting Professor Ogwang in whatever he's doing. That's one thing we should know. Any amendment to the recommendations? Yes, Tororo. Oimba.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report and to thank the chair for flexibility, because when they were in Tororo, I asked them to also visit the general hospital, and you can see the report that has been presented. But before I give my amendment to the prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, Tororo had the highest deliveries, 2,000. That was what was recorded. But I just want to inform this House, most of these were child mothers. We had one of the highest number of teenage pregnancies, and this is what to indicate that that X-ray machine, the generator board blew, and it took the ministry close to 2 years to have that generator board imported and brought and fixed. Now everything has been fixed. What is lacking is the UPS equipment, just a UPS to stabilize the power. So I want to ask the Honorable Minister if this can be delivered, would have the X-ray services provided to our population. But the amendment that I wanted to make, Right Honorable Speaker, regards the RBF
results-based financing. Right Honorable Speaker, this was a program that also helped in improving maternal health in most of these hospitals. So we urge the ministry to...
Minister, are you listening?
So, Right Honorable Speaker, there was this results-based financing program, and there were a number of beneficiary districts. Specifically, I'm aware that money to these hospitals, and that has in a way affected the maternal health, which had greatly improved in these districts, because mothers are picked and brought to the hospitals for attention, and that helps on reducing in the maternal deaths, Right Honorable Speaker. The other issue that I wanted to mention, Right Honorable Speaker, since this report is specific on health center FOS, is improving on the referral system. And the minister is aware of the ambulance services, the policy that has been pending.
That is going to be in the next item.
Oh,
okay. It is a motion.
Thank you, Right
on the
Honorable
next
Speaker.
one.
But let me end with the issue of the blood shortage, Right Honorable Speaker. There has been rampant blood shortage. A number of children have lost their lives. You can imagine a general hospital lacking blood and referring a child to Mbale Regional Referral Hospital just because of lack of blood. And when we visited Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, Mbale was also referring babies, children, to other facilities. A regional referral, referring children to backwards, Right Honorable Speaker, just because of lack of blood. There is no factory. There is no factory for blood, Right Honorable Speaker. We must ensure that we fund.
So we need a blood bank which is functional.
Yes, we need to fund the Uganda, increase funding to the Uganda blood transfusion services so that they can reach out and collect more blood that can be available to the lower health facilities, Right Honorable Speaker. That's the amendment. Thank you.
Yes. Elder behind. Yes. Achan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to thank the chairperson for health for a good report presented on the floor of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, most of the hospitals do not have adjustable beds for delivery for mothers who are disabled. Right Honorable Speaker, members may think that these adjustable beds might be needed only with mothers, for mothers with disabilities. But I've also learned that many women, when they are at a critical stage of delivery, they fail to climb the high beds. So these adjustable beds had to be purchased in most of the health clinics. I beg to submit.
Thank you. The people with the disability have problems when giving birth. You need those hospitals. And I have seen so many people, like Honorable Aisha had said, the local investors, the scientists, those people should be supported. An amendment?
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you. The amendment I want to thank the Honorable Aisha Kabanda because we were with her on the same committee when we were working on the investigation on the Honorable Musenero and the science innovators. I think that's where she picked this, and I also picked the same. Right Honorable Speaker, we have in this country, Uganda, scientists who have come up with innovations, including innovations of making vaccines. We have a factory in Ntinda, we have a factory in Matuga, we have several factories that are coming in, Professor Gwang. So we should pass the principle as Parliament, not making it for a specific individual, but the principle that we as the Parliament of Uganda and recommend that scientists who are coming with a new innovation to provide medicine and vaccines in the country.
Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, my suggestion was that we allow those who have showed us results, first of all, to progress by supporting them financially. You have seen situations where we have supported scientists and they have disappointed this house. Therefore, not all scientists are equal. Let us isolate them one by one. When you introduce results and we see that you are doing well, we support you. I beg to submit.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Are you Asinansi? Asinansi?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm also adding an amendment. Madam Speaker and members, last year when we were debating about the status of the health system in this country, we did resolve that all health center 3s be upgraded to health center 4s, but they also be equipped with human resource, with medicine, and the basic requirements which are needed by the doctors to use. We did also resolve that there be procurement of CT scans in all district hospitals. And I think it has not taken, we didn't consider it in the when we were passing the budget for last financial year. Finally, Madam Speaker, we also did agree that the budget, we do pass 15% as it is signed by this government in the UN declaration for the budget. I mean the budget, the health budget for every financial year. So, Madam Speaker, those are my proposals, and I beg that they are added in the amendments.
Honorable members.
On Professor Guan.
Amendment, Honorable, Right Honorable Speaker.
Very important, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I really want to thank you for the opportunity. I think we should not lose a very important point, and that is supporting local innovation. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Atkins, we've accepted that amendment.
Yes.
Let's not repeat an amendment that has been accepted.
I'm not repeating at all, Madam Speaker. I'm only reinforcing the point that Professor Ogwan and how this innovation actually and the partnership came about. There is a professor called Pam Withers. Pamela Withers is an American scientist and considered the best scientist in the whole world and as far as biotechnology is concerned. Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize the point that the research and innovation and output from Professor Guang is internationally recognized. And I would want to draw attention to Professor Ogwang's publications. They're published in high impact journals with believable and credible editorial boards. Madam Speaker, at my invitation, Professor Pam Withers, the best scientist looking at malaria in the content for us as a country, not to support Professor Ogwang when looking at his international colleagues that are highly
honorable members
rated. Thank you very much.
You're going around and around on the same thing. The amendments that we have agreed, we need to support the local innovators, the scientists, the likes of the Ogwangs, those groups. That's what we have agreed.
The unique amendment.
But we also agree that since we have so many health center force, we need to equip health center force to be more active. Is that an amendment, Honorable Chair?
Madam, the last unique amendment relates to putting a direct correlation between population and health facilities or equipment. Madam Speaker, I come from Kasese District. Population. District hospital called Wera Hospital, serving 1.5 million people, and yet there's no CT scan, there's nothing like echo sound systems. So I would put an amendment, Madam Speaker, that districts with a large population should also be supported than just looking at Kasese people having to travel all the way to Mbarara as a regional hospital, or Buhinga as a regional hospital, or Mulago as a national referral hospital, that will relate our health service facilities together with the population as it relates to Kasese district and other districts with higher population, Madam Speaker. And I think that's very, very important. But also, there is a component that is missing in the ministers. Thank you, Chair, for that powerful presentation. I'm not looking at the component of training. Training, especially as it relates to heart doctors vis-a-vis the population. I'm meant to understand that we have about 15 cardiologists. Madam Speaker, you can imagine 15 cardiologists serving 45 million people. So I would propose, Madam Speaker, that we put a component of training so that we scale up, especially.
There is a motion. Avur.
Motion.
Yes. A motion.
Madam Speaker, having heard and received the report from the Committee of Health with the amendments that have been suggested by honorable members of Parliament, I do move a motion that the report be adopted.
Seconded.
Is it seconded?
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of Health on State of Health Care Service Delivery in the selected facilities of Busoga, Elgon, Bukedi, Ankole, Buganda sub-region be adopted with its amendments. Those in favor say under the contrary, nay. Let's have it. We will extract the resolutions and we want a treasury memorandum.
Procedure, right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, will
Procedure.
extract the resolutions of this House and will want actions that you've taken, and that this now leads us to the next motion. Honorable Chair.
Item 5. Item 5.
Procedure, right, Honorable Speaker.
Motion for resolution of Parliament.
Did you attend the training? You don't switch on the microphone and start procedure. This is not a fighting place. What is your procedure matter?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm the Shadow Minister of Health. And earlier on, I'd witnessed a precedent that when an issue is on the floor of Parliament, the Shadow Minister is given an opportunity to come up with an alternative. And on this particular issue, I had a very important amendment to make. First and foremost, I'm from a region that Ministry of Health has clearly indicated that is the most burdened with malaria. And I'd personally moved in these health care facilities and established the problem. And the way the report is addressing the problem by way of a solution, I felt that I should actually air or put in my view. When we talk of blood. Honorable
Batua, first take your seat. The report was circulated. Did you write an opinion, a dissenting opinion or an alternative position to that effect? And did you give it to our office?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Like, you see, what Brenda did was very smart. It is not a matter of using too much energy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm on the Finance Committee, and on the Health Committee, I'm there as an ex-official. Sincerely, in my capacity as per the rules of procedure, I can't come up with a dissenting report, a minority report. However,
you're not coming with a minority report. You're coming with the alternative policies. What should be done? What you think is proper to be done, what you think there are loopholes, and what can be done. It is a report that you're presenting to this House. And that is the report that will guide. Can you see?
Honorable,
Can
Right
you
Honorable.
see it? And we have an item, a motion of resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize investment on health. We have that motion. Are you getting me? Patua. Honorable Batua.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Batua. Honorable Batua, this is not anybody's home. Have respect for people. Decorum is very, very important. Don't look for the other part of the speaker. Next item.
Item 5, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize investment in health center force.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize investment in health center force. Moved under Rule 56 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas under the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, the national objective and directive principle of State Policy 20 on medical services requires the state to take all practical measures to ensure the provision of basic medical services. The government of Uganda has put in place interventions to improve healthcare service delivery, specifically provision of a minimum healthcare package and implementation of that is guided by both national and global priorities and standards, including the National Development Plan, SDGs, and WHO indicators, aware that government has, through various projects, made investments in the health sector in order to improve access and equity in delivering health services with all 7 levels of health service delivery from health centers 1 to specialized hospitals, thus under the World Bank supported Uganda Health System Strengthening Project. 8 general hospitals, 1 regional referral hospital, and 26 health center fours have been rehabilitated, and another 10 health center fours under funding from the government of Uganda. Further aware that the curative arm of health services is delivered through public, private, and private not-for-profit health facilities that comprise 107 hospitals, of which 40 are public general hospitals, 47 private not-for-profit hospitals, 14 regional hospitals, 6 national hospitals, health center fours in Uganda. Concerned that many Ugandans rely on the public health system to address their health needs. Yet, despite the investments in the health sector, healthcare services remain largely inaccessible due to inequity in distribution and hard to reach geographical areas. which inadvertently affects timely access to emergency healthcare services, thus causing high out-of-pocket expenditure, poor prognosis, and preventable deaths. Further concerns that many health center falls in the country are not fully functional due to poor and inadequate health infrastructure. Yet research indicates health center falls are notably cheaper to construct and renovate. For instance, it is estimated that the cost for construction and equipping the Ministry of Health preferred 60-bed capacity health center for would cost 22 billion shillings compared to 65 billion for the preferred 200-bed hospital capacity. Noting that the health center falls remain non-functional to various reasons, for instance, the annual health sector performance report estimates that 31 out of 183 health center falls were not able to carry out a cesarean section, and the total number of cesarean procedures carried out in health center falls was 39,060 compared to 71,961 performed in general hospitals, implying that hospitals are overloaded. More so, health center falls do not provide comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care services due to lack of staff, equipment, and medical supplies are still inadequate. Yet reports indicate that for the financial year 2022-2023, the funding requirement for medicines and related consumables for 183 health center falls. 183 health center falls is almost similar to that of 40 general hospitals. Also an inadequate wage and failure to recruit medical personnel affects availability and absorption of staff in health center falls. Further noting that a bigger part of the population has more direct contact with health center falls, hence they are better placed to respond to emergency health services and to provide a quick remedy to scaling up access and equity for primary and secondary health care, as well as reducing the need for referral of patients to hospitals. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that 1, government prioritizes investment in health center falls through provision of additional funding to facilitate construction of new health center falls and rehabilitation of existing ones, as well as provision of medical supplies to address emerging challenges at the health center falls. 2, the Ministry of Health is urged to recruit more doctors and workers at health center falls to cater for the needs of patients who access the facilities. Government should provide additional funding for blood storage equipment in health center falls that do not have emergency equipment to enable them comprehensively handle emergency obstetric and newborn care. 4, government should strengthen diagnostic services at health center falls. This includes laboratory and imaging services. In brackets, ultrasound, fetal Doppler, and X-ray machines. Motion moved by Dr. Charles Ayume, Member of Parliament, Koboko Municipality, and seconded by Egon Silas, Member of Parliament, Komi Municipality. Ion Silas, sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Ayume. This is coming out of the other report. You've had very few referral hospitals, and we need to equip the health center force. It's cheaper to have many health center force than having referral hospitals. This is the basis of this motion. Anything? Is it seconded? How gone?
No,
Let it be seconded first, then you bring the procedure. Let it be seconded first. Let it be seconded, then you will vote against.
Right, Honorable Speaker, this is a very popular motion. Even before it is seconded, nearly the whole House is standing and willing to give support. I want to applaud you, honorable colleagues. But allow me first to appreciate the Honorable Chair of the Committee on Health for the very good work you are doing. Within 1 year plus, many things have changed. Your committee is doing a great job, and I'm happy with the methodology that you're adopting. You go down and collect evidence, come and present a motion backed up by facts. And for that matter, Madam Speaker, I stand here to second this motion that has been presented before the House. Indeed, if you go down to most of our constituencies, you will realize that there are so many gaps. And if we as a country decide to fill the gaps in the health center force, there will be a huge change. Talk about issues of the human resource. When the doctor was presenting the findings of the committee after their visits in the report that we have just concluded, all of you noticed that some health facilities had more staff, more doctors, more qualified personnel as compared to others. So there is an issue of equity, there is an issue of availability, there is an issue of access that we need to handle as a country. And this motion comes in handy to urge government to take action quickly. Madam Speaker, go out of the Kampala area and you notice that there is serious shortage of blood in health center force. Emergencies can only be dealt on properly when we timely act. But in a situation where health center force are ill-equipped, Madam Speaker, it's only death that is always most likely to take place. And therefore, it is very, very important that we all support this very important motion. Madam Speaker, we need to reduce on the need for referrals. Once we strengthen our health center force, there will be no need for us to always try to run with people, with patients who are in dire need to Kampala. Aware of the current traffic jam that we have here, you can drive from up country, and when you're about to reach Mulago, the Wakiso can be 2 hours. Between Wakiso and Mulago, you need another 2 hours. And that's the kind of problem that we have. But for us to work on this health center force means we are solving such a problem, and there will be a big, big change. Madam Speaker, look at the number of health center force that we are talking about. We are talking about 183, but the general hospitals are around 40. If we are going to invest money on these 40, they are not scattered all over. The serious ones that we are talking about. But these health center force are all over in constituencies. Which constituency here doesn't want a health center force? I'm aware of some places where there are no health center force. Completely. If we are to allow members right now to speak out here, they will come up and tell you, in my constituency, there is no health center for. This is the right motion. This is the right time. This is the right moment. We must rise up. We must support that the government fully funds the presence of this health center force. There are health center force where these so-called theaters are actually butcheries. When your wife is taken there, you have to go for prayer and fasting first. You are not sure whether she will return. You must, if you are not a proper believer in God, then things may not even work out. Therefore, supporting this motion is the way to go. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you talk about issues of equipment, we visited a health facility in Tororo with my colleague here, the Honorable Sarah Pendi, and we found that the equipment that are even lying there idle, not fixed. This is something which is taking place all over the country. Most of the places have this kind of thing. Equipment is there, not utilized. In some facilities, you find that the buildings are there, but not equipped. In some places, the health centers are there, but the doctors are not there. And in most places, there are no medicines. In most cases, you find that the labs are not operational.
In most cases, the blood is not there. And this has been a big challenge. When we rise to support such a motion, indeed.
Thank you. Honorable members, when you realize most of the constituencies, most of the districts don't have district hospitals. So it would be prudent enough for us, if we love our electorates, to urge government to operationalize health center force. Yes. That would be the best thing. It's not anything for debate. It is something that is straightforward, that we need this health center force to be operationalized to a level of a district hospital. In my own district, I don't have a district hospital. So we really need to agree, and the minister, we are going to ensure. Yes.
Thank you, sorry, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I remember government came up with the policy that in each and every constituency, there should be a health center for. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is true, government created very many constituencies. And the other constituency, without even health center 3, I pray that the Honorable Minister should consider uplifting those health center 3 to the level of health center 4. And finally, Madam Speaker, right now,
member, information.
There is a clarification.
I don't, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have been around for some time in this house.
For 30 years in the house.
Not yet 30. Not yet 30. And Honorable Gilbert Olaja joined. I don't remember a policy of every constituency having health center 4. Health center 4. I beg to be corrected whether that policy exists by the Minister of Health clarifying whether that policy has ever existed. So because if it is the wish of the members, then let us bring it from that angle. Because we should be able to speak with the facts. So the Minister of Health.
Can we hear from the Minister? Let the Minister clarify. She's competent enough to clarify that.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Government took a decision, and I will re-echo what decision government took, that every sub-county in this country should have a health center 3. I'm still talking. And where the sub-county is big, where access is more than 4 kilometers, then the sub-county is divided into 2, and it is given 2 health center 3s. So we can phase off health center 2s. 2, that every constituency should have a health center 4. Every constituency should have a health center 4. And that every district should have a district hospital. Those were the decisions that were taken by government. However, it is true that having very many years. But if we can strengthen the health center force, they can function as the district hospitals. This is what the chair has said. And Right Honorable Speaker, I agree, and I also agree with the motion. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I now put a question that the House adopts the motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize investment in health center force. Health center force. Those in favor say the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Honorable members, before we go to the next item, I want to refer And I'm saying I want to refer members to revise Rule 79. I may not first offenders, but I want you to take time and look at Rule 79. Next item.
Item 5.
And revise
Sorry,
it, it is like it is your Bible if you're coming to the house.
Item 6, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Rules, Privileges and Discipline on proposed amendments to the rules of procedure of the Parliament of Uganda.
Honorable members, there is a report from Rules, and after thorough analysis of that report and the issue that was raised, I have concerns that came from a member of Parliament, Honorable Kojo, on Rule 155 sub Rule 2 of our rules of procedure that states, the Speaker shall commit the proposed loan or guarantee request to the Committee of National Economy and to the relevant sectoral committee under which the subject matter of the request falls. After careful consideration of this rule, I wish to guide the House as follows. This rule was amended in 2021 to provide for an input of a sectoral committee in consideration of loans and guarantees to the respective sectors. This was necessitated by the high number of non-performing loans, undisbursed funds, and very high commitment fees on loans that government was giving out. Also, Parliament was faced with the problem of follow-up on loans due to lack of coordination between the National Economic Committee and the sectoral committee, which are responsible for the oversight role of the loans that are being given to these institutions because they lacked information. It was therefore prudent to give sectoral committees an opportunity to participate in the loan or guarantee agreement that is being approved and processed for them to have information on what has been given out, what is outstanding, whether there is value for money that is being done. With the operations of the sector that is getting the money, it is the role of the sectoral committee to do the work. And it is the sectoral committee that would then guide the National Economic Committee as to whether that was a priority of the sector. This helps direct government resources to the most critical need of the people. We've had scenarios where loans are given out, you go on ground, there is nothing being done. This is therefore to indicate that there is no duplication of committee work. The consideration of loans or guarantees should continue as per the rules in place. We are not amending that rule. It helps us in the controls The sectoral committee must know what is happening, and National Economy Committee should also know what is happening. I want to thank you for today, and we adjourn the House to 2 tomorrow.